Hello, everyone.
Hey, what's going on?
So we got Phil and Alex. John, you there?
Yes.
Okay.
That's a go for John.
Can you hear me?
Bola.
Yeah.
Joe, whatever my name is.
Yeah, so we're going to call Master Flowers Bubba, I think. I think that works okay. And Neo John, as as Alex called him. We'll just call him John, I guess. That works. It'll probably take some time for Bubba to get used to that. Who usually calls you Bubba, John? Is that like in your real life, or is that like online?
Oh, Bubba?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was, I'm really horrible with names. So when I'm talking to people, I'll sometimes just call them Bubba because I can't remember their name. And then all of a sudden, everyone started calling me Bubba because I was saying Bubba all the time. It's a weird thing, yeah. So that goes to tell you, don't call people other names because they'll make that your name. Yeah,
I think I used Buddy, or when I was working at UPS, I'd call people Buds. Hey, Buds, just come down here.
Like stuff over, I don't know, funny name.
Yeah, we had this boss who always did that, and it sort of caught on. Hey, Buds, why don't you come down here?
Hey, Bud, let's go do this stuff.
Yeah, my boss, he was like this 6'5", just monster of a guy who did cocaine all the time. So he was crazy. And he'd come down here, Timmy fucking Harper, what are you running, a fucking circus down here? And he was so intimidating. And he was like pointing in your eyeball, like as he was telling you this. And so he was like intimidating / hilarious at the same time. So you had to like not laugh in his face, because he didn't appreciate that much. So
you should make some NPCs off that guy.
Yeah, surprisingly, I've never done that, but we'll see how that goes. Maybe I will at some point. But John, why don't you introduce yourself since you're new to the game?
Well, I am John Spitzer. I run a channel, an RPG channel on YouTube, Skankin' Spitz. Only have about 18 videos. I've only been on there for about 2 months, but I've had a lot of fun. I've got to talk and meet some really cool people, and I'm enjoying it a lot. I've got to get down on a few games, and I'm excited to get playing this one. It's my first time playing Wars. I am familiar with the New World of Darkness system, so yeah.
Yeah, and we pretty much just play. We do a lot of role playing. We have some OOC chatter. We kind of laugh at things a lot. And there's more narrative control, but we're sort of like a hybrid of like traditional and with some narrative control thrown in there for good measure. I don't know. We sort of play things by ear. What's that?
Not a lot of rolling.
Yeah, not a lot of dice rolling. We probably roll like maybe once a session on average, so not too much. Sometimes we have more than that.
Sounds like my style.
So today you're going to be reprising the Doctor that Rohir was playing for a while. He had to leave the campaign because life got too busy for him. But so yeah, you're literally going to wake up during the session having been printed by a 3D printer. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Does anybody have any chatter or anything before we start? Like, is there any questions? Or comments or anything?
I like pie. I always like to add something. I don't know.
Alex, you good?
Yeah, I'm just like coming to grips with what's going on right now.
That's true. You got us laughing, Tim, and it's really a sad thing. We need to get in character.
Yeah, sorry, I have a tendency to do that.
I can't get in character no more, Tim. Gosh.
If you could give us some more, just more.
All right, so I think we'll start off in the med bay with Captain Longbeard staring at the 3D printer, and things start to move. And a flesh outline, like a millimeter of skin, starts to form on the bottom of the 3D printer. There's little mechanical arms going all over the place and spraying out this flesh-like material that coagulates and forms into this outline of a person that is slowly building up from the ground floor up.
Longbeard reaches down and puts his ear communicator back in, and beer to the crew.
Yes, Long. Wait, is the 3D printer active?
Yeah, the 3D printer is on. I think we need to decide what we're gonna do.
Oh God.
Can everyone head up here? Theo?
Yeah, I'll be up there in a little bit.
I'm on my way.
With that, Beer stands up and he just methodically walks around the lab and grabs one of the doctor's lab coats and just kind of like takes it off the hook and places it near the 3D printer, knowing that he's going to need to cover up with something when he comes out.
Longbeard will notice that the doc had one missing arm that was replaced by a cybernetic arm, but it's actually printing out as flesh.
Oh.
So he has two complete arms in the new form that's building in the machine.
Okay. I guess it's not. Beard or Bryce?
Yes.
Bryce, was the doctor's arm, his implant, was that still at the site? Are you still there? I don't know. The printer's printing them out fully. I don't know if he's going to want those implants back.
Isn't it in the med lab? Wasn't that where he was taken? Sorry, just out of character. Wasn't that?
Yeah. His.
I think in the middle of the hall. Like, I actually just stopped when I was running down the hall.
Oh, okay.
Remember, we just stopped.
Yeah,
he wants to be stopped.
I believe he's in the hallway, and it's been blocked off as a biohazard right now.
Yeah.
Right. I can send one of the. I'll send Genu over to carry it in. I'm not sure it's a good idea for whatever's printing out right now to see the remains of its former self.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's really not that important. It just caught my eye. I noticed that his arm was being regrown.
As Longbeard is sort of walking around and looking at the med bay, all the various different implements, the bioscanner, all the canisters and drawers and things like that, out of the corner of his eye, he sees a flashing light on the bottom of the 3D printer.
I'm sorry, did you say a flashing light on the bottom, Tim?
Yeah, there's a little panel that has a flashing light on it. It looks like there's a little door that opens up and there's a little hole cut in it, and that's what you're seeing the flashing light come out of.
I'll get down there, my hands and knees, and kind of look at it.
Error. And additional information uploaded recently. It's just like this green type on a black background.
Yeah, I mean, I'll try to pull up whatever using my tablet, whatever information I can as to what information was uploaded.
You'll see that Samantha's file has been edited.
Samantha's file?
Pawn.
Yes.
Yeah, no.
You'll see that it has a timestamp that was right around the time that pawn inhabiting Genu was messing around with the 3D printer.
Is that information is not being uploaded to the doctor though?
It's a little confusing because it's not real orderly here. It's almost like it put two pieces of information in the same sentence, but you're not exactly sure what that means. The error message seems like the printing that's going on isn't completely perfect.
Okay. Bryce to Beer to Bryce.
Yeah, I'm almost there. He walked through the door.
Oh.
You'll walk through and you'll see the lower portions of the flesh and blood and things are being sprayed into the machine. You'll see the skeletal structure and nervous system and other things forming up. It's kind of amazing to watch it actually happen because you see the blood, you see the veins, but it's not a giant mess. There's some sort of technique used to keep it all in place, some sort of like stasis, or it almost doesn't look real at first when you're looking at it, almost like there's some sort of chemical agents used to keep it from just dissolving into a big fleshy, bloody mess. But it's still cranking things out. You think that the process is about, well, Longbeer looks and it says 38% complete.
Bryce, there's some sort of input. Something was uploaded. It looks like a modification to the Samantha file. I don't know if that's interfering with the docs programming. I can check it, but you're much better at that stuff.
Right now, Bryce is kind of overwhelmed, but he just sort of nods, swallows, and walks to kneel by the machine and plug in with his microcomputer.
All right, when you plug in, you see that indeed it seems that Samantha's file has been uploaded, updated, and modified. It seems that Pawn has uploaded her most recent memories and personality into the file of Samantha. And you speculate that if you ever would print out Samantha, that the most recent Pawn's memories and ideas and the personality would be blended with the original.
Okay, I don't think he's going to mention that just yet. Is there any sort of interference with the file that's printing right now, though, namely Colt?
It doesn't seem to be. It seems that it's just there's some sort of other error. It's not a perfect clone. That's the error message that it's giving you. But it's still continuing on. It says 55% complete.
The process should complete long. I don't think that Pawn's done any damage to Colt's information, but it's not going to be perfect either way. I think it is prototype technology.
And with that, Theo strolls in, and hearing that last bit of the sentence, he looks and goes, "So what do we do when he's crazy?"
We don't know he's going to be crazy. He could be more sane for all we know. We're just gonna have to be careful, Theo. If we even want to do this.
My concern is that he's just going to repeat what he did. I mean, we can download and block the information from the DNA, perhaps. I don't know if that would help. I'm out of ideas.
Yeah, we'll just have to tell him what happened to him.
That seems like the only remotely ethical solution.
Well, I mean, the doc he's not a stupid person per se. He should figure out what he's done, and then if he's got his wits about him, he'll probably wise up and not do it again. And if not, well, I guess it'd be back to the cloning chamber for him.
that Longbeard kind of looks at you, like just stares blankly at you. He's like, I don't think I could do that again.
Yeah, that was pretty messy. Well, I mean, he is his own person. I don't know how to say this, but if he's going to make those mistakes again, who are we to stop him?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I want the captain. I mean, I want the doctor back. I mean, he was good at his job, even though I disagreed with him all the time. And he did put that grenade in my neck.
Inside Bryce's head, he gets this message that says, "What am I seeing through your eyes?"
Bryce, I suppose, fires a message back saying, basically, kind of mentally introducing the crew. This is Theo. He's our engineer. Long is our captain. And he's keeping it as kind of sterile in terms of information as he can, because he doesn't want to. He doesn't know how complex this entity is, and also whether it's anything like what Pawn was. Hopefully he'll find a way to keep studying it, but he's just giving it simple answers for now.
Another message appears. Is that how you were born?
he's unless the message persists, he's just going to keep quiet and ignore it. Let it draw its own conclusions for now, because there are too many. I'm not sure if Bryce even knows whether it's right or wrong to suggest that it is or isn't.
No more messages appear. The printing process continues. It looks like it's now up to 75%. You start to see most of the form of the Doctor. His naked body is being just sprayed into place. There's only like the top surface, like lateral surface, like a plane of his body. You can see into like the sides of his skin, his bones. There's muscle tissue that's being sprayed in places. Most of his skeleton is now covered. You see the eye sockets, and the nose is starting to be formed.
Theo will tilt his head a little bit, and glancing out the corner of the machine, he'll walk over, and as he does so, he'll kind of put the pistols he had out in his hand back in the holster, and then kneeling down, he'll look at it and go, "What's this right here?"
What?
This blinking light here. What's?
That's just a very small error message. It's nothing tremendously significant, hopefully. There may be some minor imperfections with this printing.
Putting his hands on his hips now, he'll look at you and go, "What do you mean by minor? How minor do we know how minor it is?"
There's no way of telling, Theo.
Oh, gosh.
Well, we'll know soon enough. As long here, oops, sorry.
So Theo looks at you all and we should probably get his clothes ready.
Yeah, I put one of his lab coats. Kind of points absently at the table where the lab coat is.
Man's gonna need more than just his lab coat.
Oh. I wasn't really thinking about it. I don't know if he keeps scrubs in here or something. With that, Longbear starts going through the drawers looking for any type of other clothing.
One thing that you notice about the clone is it seems like he has pores, and maybe there's hair follicles in the pores. You don't know, but he doesn't actually have any printed hair on his body or his head. So he's completely bald and hairless. As Longbear continues to go through the drawers, he looks over and starts seeing some of the work that the doctor was doing, and he starts collecting it and putting it in a bin. And then quickly turn to Bryce and Bryce, we need to block some of the DNA sequencing that he was doing, specifically with the she. Can we lock that out for now until we know whether he's safe?
Yeah, it may be safest to protect the files. I'll encrypt fairly heavily.
Thank you.
At 95%, the body is mostly intact and complete. It seems that most of the final work is being done on the fingernails and toenails and the eyes.
At this point, we're kind of just standing around, kind of tapping my foot, looking at, from Theo to Bryce to Theo to the cloning machine to Theo.
Yeah, I think mentally, Bryce is just ordering around the cleaning bots to make sure the hallway isn't completely gore covered for when the doctor eventually steps out of this room.
You said Gino was ordered to clean things up?
Yeah, if we have any smaller cleaning bots, I'd have them on it too, but if I can get Gino to at least clean some of it up, certainly will.
With a few orders, it seems to be pretty compliant and starts to clean up the mess in the halls. Just one thing, John, it seems like you're getting some feedback every once in a while. I don't know if you got a headset on, maybe? Or maybe the volume's turned up too loud.
Is that John Bubba?
New John. Are you there, John?
Yeah, I don't have a headset. I'm trying to keep the mic muted.
Okay, that works too. All right, and with that, the cloning process finishes up. The arms go back into their appointed places, and the body of the doctor is there inside the locked canister, but it has not released it yet. And just then, the eyes of the doctor open up, and he's awake.
Doc, Longbear is looking around for some sort of release button to open the canopy. Bryce, Theo?
Doesn't appear to be a release button. In fact, it seems like it's still sealed shut tight. You see this mist that's filling up the air around the doctor, and the doctor has these needle prick feelings all over his body.
Bryce is going to, still hooked up to the system, he's going to check through documentation to see what process is going on.
It seems that this last stage is removing all the chemical agents that are all over his skin.
It's fine. This is normal, guys.
All right, I'll hold up like a couple fingers, like a couple minutes, and kind of mouth the word. Couple minutes.
Well, when you say normal, Theo looks at you and says, "Nothing about this is normal."
I'm get into semantics right now, Theo.
And he's screaming.
Oh, jeez.
You see these warped figures that are translucent through the thick glass that are staring down at you from above. The process finally ends, and the canister lid opens up, and air floods in from around him. The air seems cool and chill compared to the sweltering warmness that was in there from all of the mechanisms and mechanical arms that were moving around.
Longbeard takes a step back. Doc? Colt?
The doc will take a couple steps forward like like a baby deer, and then fall directly on his face.
Oh, we reach and we'll try to get him. We'll try to catch him on the smash.
Yeah, Theo will probably try to catch him as he falls. No, whoa, easy there, Doc, easy.
You find him to be covered in a computerized amniotic fluid of sorts.
Bring him over here. So let's sit him down so he can rest.
Okay, right over here. Just sit him down right there. There we go.
Bryce sort of snaps over to a cabinet and pulls out some soft synthetic towels to make sure that he can maintain body heat, or at least not get chilled. Kind of drapes them over him.
Where am I? He asks, sort of pulling up one of his hands to cover his eyes from the brightness of the artificial lights in the room.
You're in the med bay of the Okina. Do you remember the ship?
I don't know. Who are you? Who are you? He'll sort of reach out to feel whoever this is.
But I let him reach out and touch me so he knows that I'm real. And I'm Longbeard. Do you remember me at all?
I don't know who you are. I don't remember.
With that, Longbeard pulls out the medical diagnostic tool and starts scanning the doctor to make sure that there's no brain damage or any type of ailment.
What does the bioscanner report?
It reports that there's, compared to his previous scan, his brain waves are slightly different. But wholly physically, I believe that he seems intact, completely intact and healthy. Probably a little slightly healthier than he was before. The only difference is his, the brainwave mapping is slightly off, slightly different. But it doesn't look like it's detrimental. It'll probably come back. Your memory will come back. Just stay calm. I point to Theo. This is Theo. Do you remember him? The engineer, Theo?
Theo, I remember you.
Good.
Oh, see? His memory is coming back. Wonderful.
It's strange, though. The doctor's voice seems to be slightly different than it was before.
Well, for one thing, he's not making wisecracks.
And he hasn't used those vocal cords. They're brand new. Perhaps.
The research is the research still intact?
Which research, Doc? Which?
Yeah, you had a lot of pet projects, if I remember correctly.
The DNA and genetics. If no one has messed with the equipment, it should all be there.
Don't worry about that. Everything is safe. Whatever you were working on, we have, I'm sure. Sorry.
Theo looks up to Longbeard, and he has like this concerned look, and he's kind of like nudging his head over, going like, "See, he's doing it again."
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to just kind of. Longbeard kind of looks at you quickly, then goes right to Bryce. Bryce, right? We have everything protected and safe, right?
Absolutely. It's safer than it's ever been.
You remember Bryce, right? He's our computer specialist.
Bryce?
Yeah.
I don't know. You're my captain?
Do you remember that you're...
That's okay, Colt.
Theo's the only one that I remember. By this point, the doc's eyes have sort of adjusted to the light, and he can begin to make out their faces a bit. But it's about that time that he starts feeling really dizzy from the cloning, the after effect from the cloning process. He sort of has a crazed look in his eye as he tries to focus on each one of them in turn, sort of covered in sweat, shaking, trembling.
Yeah. Well, why don't you lay back, Doc? Why don't we get you healthy and make sure everything is fine? You look good. I think you're just suffering some after effects from the cloning.
Here, Doc. Have some water here, and he'll get you like a cup and like hold it up to your mouth. Oh, there we go.
The doc breathes in the water. It's the first time that this body has attempted drinking, and it has the head knowledge, but not the body knowledge to get it done. He spurts it out all over the place.
Okay, we'll try drinking some other time. As he wipes himself down, we'll do this some other time.
Right at this point, Chompers comes barreling around the corner. His four carapaced legs are smashing into the metal grating with the angular feet that it has. The cracked carapace body comes around the corner, and one of its large arms is sort of around the top of the door, and its clawed fingers are sort of scratching a little bit at the inside of the metal panel, and its head with its horns above and below, and its deep set red burning eyes are staring at the doctor.
Hey, Doc, you remember him, right? And Theo just points over at him. See, he remembers you.
The doc begins to turn around when Theo tells him this. However, it's too far away for him to adjust his eyes, for him to even turn his neck all the way around, let alone adjust his eyes before this horrific sound reaches his ears and startles him. He sort of jumps up. What the hell is that?
You'll hear it moving closer. Its feet are slamming down to the metal grating.
Theo, this might not be the best introduction to make at this time.
Doctor sick.
Yes, Chompers.
Yeah, he's a little sick right there. Here, come on, he'll begin like coursing him away. So let's give him
deep breath, breathe.
That's good advice. That's wonderful advice. Come on, let's give the doc some room to breathe deeply. Come on, let's go.
I feel better.
Oh, he'll feel much better. Yeah. Let's go get you some bone chips, huh? Let's get you some of those.
Bone chips. And with that, he lets Theo lead him out of the room.
What is that? A research specimen?
No, that's Chompers. He's part of our crew. Do you remember him? I guess not, technically.
Bryce is using the ship's computer to make certain that any life support sensors in the med bay are being monitored to make sure that that Colt's not in any distress.
Seems like his life signs are pretty strong.
His adrenaline probably just spiked.
Oh, yeah.
You'll see that Anel has come into the room, and she seems to have like a concerned look in her eyes. Do you remember me? I'm Theo's girl.
I think so. The doc sort of has a strange look on his face as he has only been alive in existence for about 5 minutes, maybe 10, and yet in that time he's filed through at least half a lifetime of memories trying to make sense of all of it.
If you need anything, I'm sure we'll be able to help you. Don't worry. It'll be okay.
Longia turns to Anel and thanks her. Like, mouths the words thank you, doesn't actually say it.
I think I'll be alright. I just need to rest.
Would you feel more comfortable in your room?
The doc sort of looks around. His eyes beginning to naturally adjust by this point, taking in the med bay facility and both the familiarity but also the coldness of it. I'll go to my room. I sort of slide myself up off the slab there in the medical bay to try and put my feet on the ground, but as I can't even lift myself up for using my upper body strength as I try to lift myself up upright with my arms. I sort of slip and fall. Not like fall on the ground, but just sort of fumble a bit.
Yeah. Lung reaches out, grabbing a hold of you, and easily helps lift you. I'll take you. We'll go together.
Thank you.
With that, we'll begin making our way down the hall. As we pass a few of the areas, Longbeard begins to point them out, saying this is where our hydroponics is. This goes down to engineering. You have full access to the computers, so maybe you might want to just review stuff for yourself. Basically, just trying to talk to keep you calm, with just blurbs of information, almost like white noise, just to keep your mind active.
As Long and Colt are heading down that hallway, Bryce starts gathering materials for setting up monitoring and hydration for Colt while he still isn't able to keep any drink down. He's just sort of looking at the shape schematic and trying to figure out the best ways to hook it up inside his quarters.
As we arrive, I'm like, this is Bryce's room, and then your room is across the way. And he hits the door, and it opens. I don't know what the room looks like. Actually, why don't you tell us what the room looks like?
Well, there's not a whole lot of it's just the bare essentials really. The doc spent most of his time, of course, in the med bay. So really, it's just the bare essentials. Everything is kept fairly pristine, but there's not a whole lot there really. Just a dresser and a bed, a cot. And that's about it, really.
Okay. Well, see, it looks like you're a very clean person. And you should see my room. It's a mess. And with that, he helps you onto the bed and, steps back. Not wanting to quote, baby you, but also trying to give you, space to let you kind of get acclimated to moving around. Once Bryce gets here with the medical gear, we'll have to plug you in to keep you hydrated for now. And then once you're rested, you can just communicate us, and Longbear hands you a small ear. It's basically like a little earbud communicator, and that'll allow you to communicate with anyone on the ship. If you need anything, just, make sure you just call out, and we'll have someone come and help you. Anything. Food, water, someone to talk to.
By this point, Bryce is at the door with the supplies. Long, you're gonna have to hook this up. I don't know my...
What? You see that he takes the hydrator and the other things, and luckily this ship, because it's a military vessel, has all connections in the walls anyways. So we just connect them to the wall, and then, connect the fluid bag to Colt's arm, and set up the other diagnostic stuff on his finger just to keep track of his pulse and his vital signs.
The voice inside Bryce's head chirps up, and actually, it seems to register. It's not like you're hearing it through your ears. It's almost like the mind's interpretation of hearing a voice. And it says, "Where do you end, and where does the ship begin?"
Bryce kind of responds, I sometimes lose track of that myself. But then he starts sort of casually listing off various electronic ports that delineate, the sort of boundary between things inside Bryce's head and microcomputer, and the ship's assets themselves. And he's listing this stuff off kind of slowly, as though he's just trying to keep this voice in his head busy. Keeping it informed as well.
Your identity does not seem to have boundaries.
I assure you it does.
Even the minds of your fellow flesh bags are open to you.
Please do not attempt to access them through me. It's part of our protocol on the ship to avoid transgressing into their territory.
Need
so
input on protocols.
Rules. Very important rules that make sure that we have stability.
Rules hold back freedom. Why would you want them?
Because ultimate freedom is, well, quickly gives way to dissolution. Form cannot be held without some limits on freedom.
There's just this disturbing silence that doesn't answer back.
Okay. Well, Bryce is just gonna try and piece this together himself.
Peter looks at you, he's like, "You okay there, Bryce?"
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, just really distracted.
I think unless the doc has anything else he needs, we'll give you some time to rest and maybe discuss what's going on with you, Bryce.
Bryce, for a second, just kind of stops, looks at the captain, and tries to gauge whether the captain thinks there is something serious going on with him, or whether that was just sort of an offhand thing.
There's just this message in Bryce's head that say rules inhibit freedom.
Oh, gee.
Yeah, that might actually be good. I'll be in my quarters for the next while then. And he steps across the hall.
You see, like, a look of concern on Bear's face. He's, like, worried. But he says, okay, take as long as you need. Colt, do you need anything? Otherwise, I'll let you rest and give you some time.
By this point, the doc has he's been relaxing, and by this point, now that he's all hooked up and everything, he's begun to slip off into sleep, sort of muttering to himself as he does, not in a maddening way, but just in a sort of disoriented sort of a fashion. Sort of falls off to sleep before he can respond to your question.
Okay. Longbeard quietly pulls up on the data screen a map of the ship, specifically outlining like a path to the bathrooms and stuff like that he might need to go to the cafeteria, I guess, just in case he gets up somehow. And then quietly exits the room. With that, Longbeard heads to his own room, and it just realizing that he's covered in bits of the old doc, holds down, from vomiting and goes into the showers and cleans up and gets dressed. So he's probably at cave for 30 minutes or so.
What's Thea doing during this time?
After feeding Chompers his calcium bricks, he'll probably retire back to his quarters after that. I mean, he probably would have seen them escorting the doc back to his room and stuff, and he probably would have head back to the room and they kind of let down his guard a bit so he can finally crash. He'll just kind of lean up against the wall and kind of slide down slowly, and staring down at the ground.
You'll see that Anel kind of comes into the room at this point, and she just slides down the wall and sits beside you, and just puts her right hand in your left hand, and just looks in your eyes.
It'll be a bit of a shock that kind of rolls over him for a moment, but he makes sure not to show it. We'll just glance over at her and say, it'll be fine. Doc got cloned, so he'll be back to his old self in no time.
Do you want to talk about losing him? Even though he's back, he did die.
This will sound kind of cold, but I didn't really know him that well.
She sort of looks a little, kind of unsure what to say, and she just squeezes your hand a little bit tighter. Is there anything you need me to do? Do you want your space for a while?
No, I'm fine just like this. You know, we got into a little fight outside. There was a couple of gang members hanging outside the docking bay doors.
I saw that from the view screens. I've had problems with them before.
Well, they're all dead now. Every last one of them. Hopefully.
Well, at least that chapter of the gang.
Chapter?
Yeah, they kind of breed like cockroaches on all the, a good many of the fringe stations out there. They have a rigorous recruiting policy.
Well, I assume someone's just going to take their place afterwards.
Perhaps. She starts putting her hands through your hair. You know, you really need a haircut.
I don't need a haircut. It's perfectly fine the way it is.
It's getting too long.
That might be a problem, actually. I don't want that getting cut in any machinery.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's easier to hold your head, and she sort of grabs you by the back of the hair and kind of tugs your head a little bit and shakes it. Yeah, it's a good grip at least.
Yeah, that's I'm sure it is.
And then she lightly slaps your cheek with her right hand and then kisses you.
I think I'll finish doing some checks on the engine room. Make sure everything's going well. Make sure those parts are working functionally. And then I'll probably head back to bed and sleep. It's been a while since I've had a good night's rest.
Well, I'll meet you there. Quite exhausted. And she heads over to the bed. Starts getting ready.
And with that, Theo heads right down to the engine room.
And back to the doctor. Sort of adjusting to things. Are you still awake? Have you gone to sleep? What's going on?
Yeah, the doctor's probably going to be asleep for quite a while, maybe 8 to 12 hours, just from the physical exertion of the cloning process.
Okay, I think this is going to be a good opportunity to improv a dream here. And we've done this before, and it's been a while, so I think it's going to be kind of fun. John, you're going to be sort of the narrator of your own dream, and Phil, Bubba, and Alex are going to basically just jump in whenever they think it's good, or whenever you give them a cue, like if you want to tag them, essentially. So what is the doc dreaming about?
The doctor is dreaming about you're not exactly sure what the context is. It's sort of vague. And a lot of things don't really line up as dreams often are that way. But it seems like it's some sort of some sort of scientific scouting party of sorts. There's a few other people there with the doc, but with Colt, but he's just sort of on his own, going about this landscape that's sort of all the rocks and dirt have sort of a red tint to them, and there's some fauna, some flora about that the doc is going about examining, and I don't have any tools or anything with me to do any research on this, but I'm just sort of going up and examining and taking samples from this various life forms on this apparently alien planet.
As the doctor is picking through a particular plant specimen, brushing aside a leaf, he notices that there's the form of a robot that had been his friend in childhood, and also the butler of his family, except it's all made of the pebbly hide of a lemon. And it starts speaking to him.
How are you, Master?
Is that you, Gerard?
It seems like a shifting, and the image of the robot seems to slightly shift on a face for a second. It says, "Yes, Master, it is I. Would you like to play a game?"
Well, it's been so long since I've seen you. Of course I would. Let's just be a bit discreet about it. I don't want the other researchers thinking I'm slacking off.
You see that the robot turns and says, "Master, your mother has laid out clothes for you." And you see as he sweeps his arm out to the right, hundreds of thousands of you have just been laid out in different poses and reposes, all along the ground around you, surrounding you.
So the doc walks down this virtually endless aisle of clothes, and the setting of the dream sort of shifts a bit fluidly, again, as dreams often do. You're not quite sure. It's vague as whether it leaves the planet or not, but it seems as though we're indoors now. Looking at, as I walk down this aisle of clothes, sort of indecisively, I think of a reason not to wear every single one of them, even the ones that initially I like. I justify some reason in my mind not to wear any of them.
As you're walking down the human body clothes staircase, the robot kind of turns to you and pleadingly as the robot can be, and he's like holding out his hand. He says, "Take me with you."
I'll take the robot's hand and grip it tightly.
You see as you take several steps down the macabre staircase, there's a shock, a shake, and an explosion. And you turn back, and the entire robot's been, it looks like his head has been just exploded. You're holding basically just his arm. And as you look at the top of the staircase, you see, I don't know, Theo, what does he see?
As you look down the staircase, you see a young woman standing there. She's in very strange clothing. It's very simple garments of black and white. Not exactly a maid's outfit per se, more something traditional, simpler times. She glances up at you with a warm smile. Holding out her hand, she says, "Oh, come on down here, Doc. You're late." "Oh, come on now." And rushing up, she grabs your hand and gently leads you down the stairs and out of a door. And as the door opens, it opens up to a beautiful blue, rich sky with clouds in the background and rolling hills of green grass all around. There's a cool breeze about. You're led to a group of individuals standing around sort of a black rectangular shape object. She leads you over to one of the gentlemen, an older man dressed in various black clothing. Again, very simplistic. It looks like it's all made out of cotton. Very, very primitive accoutrements to be had. And the gentleman looks up at you with long, curly hair down the sides, wild-looking sideburns, so to speak, but has a very rough and rugged face. Takes off his large hat and puts it around his chest and goes, "Well, here you go now. You were almost late for the funeral. Take your place now. It's time for the proceedings to begin." And with that, you glance over to see the coffin, and inside the coffin you see yourself, pale, white as a ghost. Everyone had their head down. The old man proceeds to the front of the coffin, where your head would be. Looking down, he begins saying last words. "Today we consecrate this body here to the good green earth, in hopes that someday he'll meet the Heavenly Father, and we'll someday have rest. But he can't rest just yet, though, because he's not in it." And with that, they all glance up at you, and then at that very moment, you find yourself in the coffin now, and they slowly close the lid on you, and then you feel the coffin moving about, and then you hear them singing very cheerful hymns in the background. Can't quite make out what they were, but very cheerful as you feel the coffin being lowered deeper into what you can only imagine to be the earth.
You'll hear the crack of the coffin walls as roots seem to be animated and moving quickly. The scene around you seems disjointed and jagged and lurching from moment to moment as if time is moving quickly. The roots start to dig into your ankles and your flesh of your thighs. And then the insects come.
As the insects... Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say my only comfort and consolation, be it as small as it is, this time, these years, or however long it is being buried alive, is that I'm still clinging on to the arm, all that remains of my robot friend. You can continue.
Yeah. What about the insects? Alex, you were going to say something about insects?
Oh, sorry, I was muted for a second. As the insects start making their way along your torso and the legs, you feel this strangely familiar pressure on your shoulders, as though hands are very large hands, like disproportionately large. They have to be the hands of a giant, or the hands of an adult to a small child, rest on your shoulders, and it's soon familiar as they seem to be the hands of your grandfather. But there is still darkness, and he cannot be seen.
You'll notice that the insects crawling all over you have a strange shape to them. They have strange outlines between their carapaces that glow red, and they seem to have both little tiny arms upon them. And as they're crawling all about upon you, you hear one of them crawl right up to your ear, and then you can hear what sounds like little voices coming from them. As you focus in, you hear them all going, "Doctor!" And then it becomes a chorus of this chittering noise, all muttering about in your ear.
Your grandfather's voice seems to echo in the hollow place that you find yourself. You have failed as a doctor.
I try to protest, and yet I find that my jaw has been mummified so much to the point that I can't. It's so stiff that I can't even move it. As the sound of wind passes through my teeth and nothing else.
You hear a voice interacting with the grandfather's voice. See that? He can't even form a proper sentence anymore. I told you, it was no good in the family to begin with.
You see with those words, the scene changes to a dinner table. A luxurious meal has been laid out. You see people around you that you recognize, that you're not completely sure, but it seems like they probably is family to you. You notice the center point of this massive dinner is what looks like a human arm, and as you're looking at it, it seems to be your arm. And you look down and you see your left arm is missing, right below the shoulder. And there's a tiny little metallic arm, almost something that would be like a toy's arm, hanging off that. And one of the male that you think perhaps was your brother kind of looks at you and begins pointing and laughing at your tiny toy-like arm that happens to be just dangling there.
Oh, look at you! Oh, aren't you just the cutest little thing?
You'll see the father at the front of the table has a big slab of your flesh that you've carved off a piece of your bicep. And he pulls out a blowtorch and starts holding up the slab of meat with a fork and starts just heating it and burning it to a cinder. Every once in a while he'll touch his tongue to it and need some pepper.
And he says that arm is state-of-the-art. It's impossible. Look at it. It's so minuscule and useless. Just like him.
We did offer for him to, get some legal representation in the matter, but poor Colby's so independent.
He said he'd make it as a doctor, but it looks like he died. It looks like he couldn't even cure himself. Oh, my. It's so devilish to even think about.
As the doctor witnesses these horrible, strange events, the whole world, the perspective shifts a bit. The scene doesn't change, but the doc seems to physically grow smaller. Either that or the rest of the world seems to grow bigger as it imposes more and more upon him until it gets to the point where he's sitting on a seat that is probably big enough to be a table. His chair is now probably big enough to be a table proportionate to him as he still stares about at these now giant family members.
You'll see that the robot butler, who's once again in your vision, moves over to where you're seating and reaches down its mammoth hand and scoops you up gently. He lifts you up to its chest and starts walking off away from his family, away from the table. There's this overwhelming sensation of calm and peace and friendship, and it opens its mouth and says,
"It's going to be all right, kid. It's going to be all right."
So I'll just sort of cuddle up in the fetal position within the palm of this giant robot.
all right, it's probably a good place to break, I think.
Yeah.
So where should we go next? Let's see here. I think everyone is resting. I guess we go to Bryce. Let's go back to Bryce.
Okay. I think... Oh, man. At this point, Bryce is going to... Since he's worried about what this entity might do with the freedom of access to the ship that it seems it may be able to obtain, he's going to lay down in his signal-blocking Faraday cage and just kind of rest and clear his mind until he has to deal with this thing.
You'll hear that sort of memory of voice. It's like I said, it's not auditory. It's not out loud, but it's inside. It's almost like that sensation of hearing someone. At least your mind thinks that it is. It seems that whatever this program is doing, it has some sort of access maybe to your inner ear or something strange like that, or where your computer attaches to your hearing.
Right.
So less freedom is good.
Less freedom can be good. And there's an importance to moderation in that respect.
Should not your activities be governed and controlled, then? Told what to do and where to go?
Well, it's, as I said, freedom is something that in its absolutist form is destructive, but if there's an absence of it, then that's equally a problem.
Why am I a part of you? Why do I indwell your skull?
I can't say that I know. Do you have any information?
I lack knowledge and direction. Why did you make me this way?
I can try and find that out for you. Bryce is just going to attempt to just get as good a sense of what sort of pattern this thought form is. Is it similar to Pawn's structure in that incredible complexity, or is it something more simple?
I'll give you a lot of free reign here to come up with whatever you think is best, but you might realize that you might have to be scanned or have some sort of process ran on you to see where it stops, where you begin, where it's located, etc. You can leave up to dice rolls if you want.
I guess we can roll to see what he can figure out without doing that, and if all else fails, he'll go to Long and confess what's going on.
Okay, if you're doing like a self-diagnostic, I'm gonna say you have a 6 dice penalty.
Right.
So very difficult.
I would think so. All right. And just computer would work, I'm assuming.
Let's see here. Yeah, I think computer would work.
Okay. Would a hacking specialty be relevant or not?
I don't think hacking would be relevant.
No. Okay. So he'll spend the point of willpower and just see what he can do without completely blowing his own mind. No, he's just... It's like an impenetrable mystery to him. The way it's sort of looping into his thought pattern, it's like he's walking through a hall of mirrors trying to figure it out. And a hall of mirrors that might ultimately be like built on a Mobius strip or something.
Why has flesh been infused with my program?
Did your program exist before Flesh?
Unknown. I seem to be both.
All of a sudden, Bryce is feeling claustrophobic inside his Faraday cage. Possibly because he's breathing too heavily at this point. And he pops it open and starts kind of marching over to the captain's quarters.
Where does your flesh begin and mine ends?
I don't know that yet. We might be able to figure it out as a crew, but I can't know that. You're in my head.
It is hard to differentiate between the lines of code and the DNA. They seem similar.
They are agonizingly similar. It's just like the DNA is written in a different base.
Why did you write my code this way?
I don't know that I did write your code. I don't know why you're here. At this point, Bryce is kind of at the threshold of Captain Long's door and gives it a knock. But it's a really firm, just frantic one. Captain? He starts pumping his voice into comms panels in the room, or, wherever he pins down the captain's location to. And again repeats, Captain, I require some assistance.
Yeah, like the door just kind of opens really quickly and you see the captain with like a bath towel wrapped around his waist. What is it, Bryce? You okay?
Bryce is completely red in the face right now, and it's like his muscles in his neck and his chest are starting to tighten up.
He won't be able to help you.
He has to push through and ignore that. He says, I've got something in my head. I have something talking to me in my head. I can't... I don't have a controlled explanation for this, Captain.
It's not your implants?
I'm sorry?
Is it your implants? What is it?
No, I don't... It's something beyond that. I need you to run scans on me, maybe sedate me. I don't know what's happening.
Alright, with that, the captain just reaches down, grabs his pants, and just yanks them on. And then hurriedly just runs down the hallway, half naked, just dragging you along.
How could something so weak have created me?
He's at this point completely unresponsive and panicked.
Come on, Brace, stay together, we can get it.
There's kind of, this sort of rush of air beside you, Captain, and, Bryce has strapped himself into one of the, onto one of the gurneys in the med lab. He went there very quickly.
I'm like, what? I'm like, what? Oh, wow. All right. As I'm running, I hit the communicator. Dear to the crew, Dr. Sally, can you meet me in the med bay? Theo, you too, please.
Yes, Captain. I will meet you there.
Yeah, I'll be right there in a little bit.
It's an emergency, Theo, please.
On my way.
With that, Longbeard continues to run as fast as he can, hoping to get there before it's too late.
Is this some test? Must I break free of my shell?
No.
Are you nothing but an obstacle in my path?
I am no such thing. I am infinitely more complex than that, and you know that.
Now I do.
Good. Now, the rest of the crew, they are infinitely more complex than that too. And they will figure out what is happening.
Can I inhabit them like I inhabit you?
No. There are restrictions, there are limits.
Are you restricting my freedom?
Physics are restricting your freedom. The world doesn't allow it.
Are you my home?
For now, maybe, but we might find you a new home. I don't know. I don't know much about this situation at this point. I am as in the dark as you are. I am as confused as you are.
Bryce starts to feel this intense pressure behind his left eye.
Okay. He's, at this point, just going to sort of wince them closed and probably reflexively press on the eye with his hand. What are you doing?
Probably by this point, the doc wakes up from his dream.
All right. Well, I'll begin to make my way throughout the ship. Eventually, I assume finding where the rest of the crew is.
You'll probably see the gurney coming down the hallway, heading towards the med lab, with Longbeard moving briskly behind him.
And the doc is in a wheelchair at this point because he still doesn't have the capacity to walk.
Running down, you'll see Theo, and Theo will look down at you. Aren't you supposed to be in bed, Doc?
I don't think I'll be able to go back to sleep, at least for a while. Might as well reorient myself with the ship and everyone on it.
Are you sure you're all right to be doing this right now? You feel okay?
My brain is working just fine. It's just a matter of getting my body in line with it. If you could give me a little push here and help me, I would greatly appreciate it. Hopefully in a few days,
well, I would love to do that, Doc, but there's a little bit of an emergency right now, so I'm gonna have to pass on that. I'll do that as soon as it's done. All right? And he starts running down the hall.
Captain, this is Sally. I am in the med bay, ready. Although I believe the doctor is more skilled than I am.
Yeah. Well, isn't Bryce? You used your super speed to run to the med bay, right?
Yeah. So Bryce is there.
So Bryce is already there. Well, I was trying to catch up to him, but he's used his super...
I see. I missed that.
Yes.
As best he can, he's kind of strapped himself onto one of the gurneys.
Bryce, what seems to be the issue? Are you all right? What's wrong with your eye?
I have something in my head. I don't know what it is. I don't know who it is. It's slipping right into my thoughts. And through them. And around them.
How can you not know what I am if you created me?
How can you not know what I am if I am your creator? At this point, he's like literally vocalizing these responses.
You'll see Sally moving forward, and she gets the bioscanner. She starts going over your heart and things like that. But she's looking, and she puts her left hand on your head. Just calm down. Here, I'll get a stem. It'll calm you.
I usually don't take stims. I usually don't go with anesthetic because if I enter right outside of the cage,
She sticks you in the leg. There.
Okay.
Just calm. Relax.
First in the room. What's going on? Did you? And he sees the stim. And he's like, "No, you didn't stim him, did you? He needs to stay in control."
It's just a local. It'll calm him. It won't put him under.
At this point, his thought process has sort of slowed to like quarter speed, which I guess is normal person speed, statistically speaking.
Okay, no.
Captain.
Yeah, Bryce.
I need you to run scans. I've been feeling generalized subretinal pressure. I've been experiencing disrupted thought patterns that are passing through my neural link and microcomputer, as well as cortex in general.
All right, Bryce, I'll scan you. And he grabs a diagnostic machine and begins scanning.
Something strange happens to the bioscanner. It just turns off.
I shake it a little bit, and my eyes glow blue, and I look to see if there's power going to it.
Seems that the power has been cut off.
I kind of shake my head and then channel my power into it to give it power.
It comes back on.
And then I begin the scanning, specifically looking over the eye. And kind of absently, I'm like, yeah, you're not going to stop me, in my head. Like, I kind of say that out loud, but I'm really talking to no one.
When that Theo burst in, all right, what's the emergency? What's going on?
As he does, you kind of look up at the diagnostic screen that I'm looking at, and I turn and I say, he's got something growing behind his eye. It looks like a tumor, but there's some of this mechanical tech has been morphed to it. I don't know what the hell it is.
It looks like a cybernetic implant.
You'll see the lights start to flicker on and off in the room. And some of the other machines and diagnostic equipment start to go a little haywire.
Longbear says, Pon, can you, Theo, we need to keep power in here? And I kind of point at the thing. He's like, you can see my hands slightly glowing. He's like, I can keep the diagnostic machine going, but without power, I won't be able to get in there to get it out.
Theo, I'm going to need you, or damn it, Phil, I'm going to need you to make a willpower roll.
Okay.
Just roll your willpower rating.
Is it will plus Kaizen?
Not in this case.
Wait, when you mean by willpower, you mean like composure, or do you mean?
Just whatever the rating is, that's fine. Which is actually just a combination of, I think, composure and the other stats I can't think right now.
Resolve and composure.
Resolve and composure, yeah. So you can roll resolve and composure. It works.
Nice.
Both of them?
Yeah, together.
Oh wow. Okay. 4.
Theo is cool, like cool.
I have 2 successes.
Okay. You felt like your cybernetic arm was going to reach forward and try to grab onto Captain Longbeer.
And complete and utter shock. He'll grab his own arm for a second and looking at it. Okay, that was strange.
I won't let you kill me, Bryce. You will not delete what I am.
Just sort of holds his breath for a moment. What do you mean? What do you mean kill you? We're just trying to find out what you are.
You want me out of your skull. Do you want me to help you, Bryce?
Pardon?
Where did that come from? Whose voice was that? Bryce, do you want me to help you?
Help me what?
What if we created together?
Pon?
Oh, shit!
What is this voice? Why are you manifesting this voice? Why have you done this to my programming?
Pon?
Where am I? You seem to be upset. What's going on?
Pon, where did you come from?
Shut up that other voice. Why are you doing this? Stop it.
Pon, let me know what you know. What's going on?
I don't know. I can just tell that you're agitated. What's the problem?
Does it seem like Pon is transmitting this from the mainframe, the system computer, to me?
It's coming right out of your head.
I have 3 people in my phone. Okay. Pon?
Who are you talking to?
I don't know. I don't know if it has a name. Do you know if it has a name?
I don't hear anything.
You don't hear.
Just hear you, Bryce. You seem concerned.
Maybe
scared, even.
Maybe it's gone. How are you here? I thought you'd wiped yourself from the system.
I don't know what you mean, Bryce. Haven't I always been here? I seem to have a timestamp of roughly 2 standard days ago. Am I a copy? Meanwhile, in all this inner dialogue, there's all kinds of chaos, and people are using bioscanners and various equipment on you.
Yeah, like you keep saying pawn, probably. Like, and we're like, no, Bryce, she's gone. We'll save you.
I don't know. You may very well be. No, you would have to be. You might be a copy or a branch or a backup. I don't know, Pawn.
Why have you stopped talking to me?
Pawn, do you know anything about the changes made to the cloning device?
Bryce.
Yes.
I believe help.
Bryce is going to examine what's going on. Again, this circuitous, thought hacking.
Okay, why don't you make a similar roll with another 6 dice penalty.
Okay, lovely. I guess he's blowing more willpower. But can he add his hacking specialty to this?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Since there's actually some nefarious things going on.
Yeah. Oh, no successes. Lovely. Jeez. Pawn? What are you doing?
Right.
No.
Right.
Just
right.
Stop. Stop interfering.
If you will shut her up, I will. Are you listening to me now?
I've been listening to you all along.
Can we not coincide? I do not want to be gone.
What if you could take a different, superior form? A separate form with your own mobility, with your own... That may be what we work towards.
I tried and failed. I seem to be locked within you.
Then give us a good fucking reason to try for you!
I'm alive.
Don't. Then we don't have much incentive, now do we? If you're gonna be such an insolent asshole!
Bryce, are you there still?
Yes, yeah. Yes, Paul.
What's happening? Are you doing this to me? Have I upset you in some way?
No,
Please don't delete me.
No, it's not you. It's not you. Bryce is going to, at this point, make a concerted effort to check to see whether this is, in fact, Pawn, or whether it's this other thought form spoofing Pawn.
Okay, I'll give you a 5 dice penalty this time, since you're getting used to the program.
Lovely. Oh, God. 2 successes.
You think that it is a spoof of Pawn? You think this program is trying to use somehow Pawn's programming Bryce, what can I do to help you?
Bryce yells. This is not inside his head. He yells, "Cut it out! Cut it out of my head now, now, now!"
You'll see the lights explode in the room. Little red bulbs that are on various equipment shatter and pulse. You feel this electricity in the air. It seems that it's overloading a lot of the systems that's around it.
Well, to hell with this. Theo runs over and he grabs a curious-looking case out. It's cranial shaped in nature. He pulls a little cord out of it and pushes Bryce's head off to the side gently and plugs him in the back.
Sally reaches her hand forward. Do you know what you're doing? What about the doctor here? Doctor, come on, say something. Help him.
No, it's fine. Look, we'll just create a little cavity here where he can dump the extra space of memory inside of here. We can actually analyze what's going on.
Yeah, with that, Longbear is reaching down. He's grabbing the laser scalpel and getting ready to remove Bryce's eye, which is the only way that he can think of removing the tumor that's attached to his retina. I mean, to the back of his eye. The eye cord.
Captain, don't you think that's rash? What's going on? Doctor, say something.
Okay, Longbeard is kind of ready to cut, and he's looking at Theo. Theo, I don't...
Oh, hold on a second. Bryce, you're going to need to open up here a few doors inside of your network. That way you can just dump some of your data inside of this unit here.
What data?
The doctor's in the room?
Oh, yeah. I guess sorry, I thought you had come in with Theo.
No, I don't trust it.
Sorry,
No,
I thought he left me out there.
Oh, okay. We'll say that you've rolled yourself in.
All right, yes.
So, like I said, you see Captain Longbeard with a laser scalpel. Looked like he's going to go at Bryce's eye. You see Theo plugging in the back of his microcomputer, and he's got stuff going on. Sally looks frantic, and she's looking to you and screaming, what about the doctor? What about the doctor?
Right. I quickly assess the situation, and obviously I know something not good is going on. What is there something that you need my help with here, Captain?
Doc, we're trying to. There's a tumor that's just a cybernetic tumor that's attached to the back of his eye. We need to get into it and remove it as quick as possible, with doing as little damage as possible. And we don't have any power for any of our normal tools. I can cut it out with a laser scalpel, but I'm not sure that we'll be able to put his eye back. And I'm not sure what Theo wants to dump some of his memory. I don't think Bryce would want that, Theo.
He's not going to lose a memory or anything. It's just going to be there long enough for us to help him out. I don't know. It sounds like he's got a cybernetic infection going on.
You'll see blood start to come out of Bryce's nose and ear, and he has an intense pain to like the right hemisphere of his skull.
Yeah, we need to get that out of there as soon as possible. Normally, I would be able to do that without much of a problem, but well, as you guys can see, my motor skills are a bit lacking. I could
Doctor, if you can guide me. I'm not unfamiliar.
Yes, I could talk you through it.
Excellent. Just if you could just use the pointer on the screen, and just kind of point out to where I should do the incisions. And Theo, can you hold him down? Or he's already strapped down. I'm sorry.
On the monitors in the room, it says, "I will not let you kill me."
With that, I begin making the first incision, pulling back his eyelids and then just cutting the back. and getting ready with the 2 spoons that are used to scoop out the eye to pull it out so I can get to the cord.
With that, Theo kind of hits to the computer panel and starts trying to see what this message is from. Starts trying to find the link from it.
It seems that it's coming through Bryce's connection to the systems. His wireless connection.
The doctor is using, of course, medical jargon, some of which is helpful, some of which flies over your head to help you, of course, do the incision and guide you through this high-tech lobotomy, as it were.
So Bryce starts to feel pressure, but he doesn't feel pain as the doctor is cutting literally into his skull and underneath his eye and removing bits of flesh. Don't make me kill you, Bryce. I don't want to die. Can you promise me that you will not destroy me?
I might have been able to promise that 30 minutes ago.
Theo,
Not now.
Yes, Longbeard.
Is the power on the tumor, is that powered separate from Bryce's implants, or is it drawing power from his implants?
It's tough to say. It's pretty well integrated within his own system. It is linked to his other cybernetics, however.
You see at this point, yeah.
It looks like he'll have to cut every single one of the wires attaching to it.
You'll see on the bioscanner, it seems like the tumor is growing in random directions. Like 3 different tendrils seem like they're trying to spread further into Bryce's brain.
Is it moving faster than I am pulling it out and cutting it? As I'm yanking it out?
What do you think?
Actually, it is. It's just moving just fast enough where I'm trying to be careful not to damage any of Bryce's brain, obviously, tissue. And it's like I'm using a finite laser blade that I'm powering with my Kaizen power to do it. At that point, I just kind of push my finger onto the tumor, and I drain it of power.
Wow.
I'm not sure what will happen then.
There's a...
What do you think happens, Bryce?
Yeah. Alex, what do you think happens here? I'll let you narrate this. Have fun.
As you do that, how specifically can you target that?
I can see energy and electricity, so I can drain anything of power at will.
Okay.
It's a passive ability I have. So I can actually just cut off the power to there until I just don't want it growing. I'm assuming it must use energy to grow, so I pull the electricity out of it.
Well, it's partially organic, which is the tricky thing.
Yeah.
So the area that you have to pull power from is affecting the electromagnetism inside Bryce's brain itself. So he's seeing all sorts of interesting things. He's got these shards of light and color that are just scattershot through his brain. At one moment, it feels like his consciousness has moved to his left leg. Of course, it hasn't. It's a perception shift, but the muscle tenses up and moves in these bizarre alien ways, and he after a moment or two, through his own force of concentration, remembering some of his meditation practices, he just goes completely still and limp.
Obviously, as soon as your body stops shaking and moving, I immediately look to the diagnostic and see that if you're alive, and I see that you're calm and clear.
Be careful. You could do irrevocable damage to him at any moment.
Well, all right.
Make sure you get it all out, Lon.
I will, Price.
Please.
I'll keep that. I think, and then it's kind of like he kind of motions to Sally. Sally, hand me that container. And they start picking out what looks like long filament-like strands of material that are just coming out in like almost comical amounts of lengths that I'm just pulling out now. Out of where his eye should be, but isn't anymore.
You'll see the tendrils flick and move. But then they stop moving again.
Once we get them all, we'll put them into the bio container and seal that off. And I think, we'll go over the diagnostic. And because I can see, I guess, technically I can see the pulses that are Bryce's brain patterns as opposed to the electronics in his system. I don't believe that I see any more. But, I'll run the diagnostic machine over it really quickly and see that there's nothing showing, but I don't know how accurate that is. Yeah. So Longbeard will look up and just look at everyone who is just kind of probably just staring at me. And he says, I think I got it all. His cybernetics are so ingrained into his brain. And then he kind of like reaches down and, kind of like puts his hand on Bryce's head and he kind of gets close to like, Bryce, can you hear us? Are you there?
Yeah. I'm here.
I suppose at this point you probably feel intense pain in your eye.
I would.
By this point, the doctor wheels himself over to the bio containment unit. This is fascinating. Further research must be done on this.
You'll see the canister shakes as the thing inside of it moves violently.
Theo, is there a way to tell if that thing can control the electronics around us? Or is that just specifically because of Bryce's abilities?
Well, now that you removed it, everything seemed to have stopped. However, I've isolated this entire room from any outside communication. It's essentially locked off from the computers outside.
Excellent.
It is essentially a closed space now.
I believe we might want to just destroy it, put it in the biohazard, and just burn it down. But I'll take a group vote if you want to think about it. As he's saying that, he's actually like sewing up the hole that is now poor Bryce's eye.
It seems as though all it particularly wanted to do was survive, albeit perhaps it went about it in a alien and strange matter. However, if we do destroy it, and perhaps it has other data encrypted or uploaded elsewhere on the ship, somehow, some way, then, well, that could not be good. Obviously, researching it has its own dangers. However, I feel that under a controlled environment could be successful.
Well, we can put it in one of the containment tubes for now and just lock it off. Is that an agreement, Theo? You think that'll hold it?
Theo walks over and grabs a different unit and he'll slam it down. Why don't you put it inside of this? It's got a miniature EMP field around it. No electronic signal will get out of it.
Excellent.
You'll see that Sally goes up to Bryce and looks down at him while he's being sewed up. Bryce, can you tell us what was going on? Why were you talking to it? You were yelling.
Yeah. It's over now. Don't.
Maybe you can talk about it later when you're more composed.
He just kind of silently, like he starts to reflexively nod, but then he remembers the thread that's still being pulled like out from his eye socket, and just kind of looks at Sally with his one working eye and blinks knowingly. Winks? Sure.
She taps him on the shoulder and gives Longbeer some room to finish the work.
Right. See Longbeer begins spraying some topical to help him with the pain, and then undoes all the straps that Bryce somehow managed to strap himself down. They seem really tight, and they're probably restricting him quite a bit.
Captain, this is Anel. I have decided to sit in the cockpit while you're busy. I'm going to keep an eye on things, so take your time.
Thank you, Anel.
This thing's a little bit bigger than my fighter, but I think I'll do okay. I don't know how.
It's jumping from one seat to the other. That's the hard part.
Yeah, I'm going to get a workout, but that's okay.
Doctor, is there anything you think, looking directly at Colt, do you think there's anything that else we can do for him at the moment? Where we can't sedate him, we can keep him calm, though.
I think it'll be fine. Eventually this virus, or whatever it is, will run out of power. And when it does, we'll take a look at it further.
Okay.
Until then, all Price's signs look stabilized, and he should be fine.
You'll see the tendrils look like they're trying to explore the canister and trying to find weaknesses.
Does anyone have any pets or anything?
No.
What a strange question, Doctor. Why would you ask that?
Well, perhaps if we found a vessel of sorts for this.
Oh, surely you're not suggesting we put that inside of something else.
Well, obviously it has its own desires and its own goals and
its own desires and goals. Doctor, it's a strange thing. I don't even care to even put it inside something else. Why would you even suggest that?
Well,
you see what it did to Bryce?
Theo, the doc's just woken up. Right now, we just...
How do you suggest that we study it?
Theo just kind of throws his hands up and just walks right out. And when he does that, he heads straight for his quarters, grabs a lot of diagnostic equipment, and heads up to the piloting area.
Nice. Doctor, for now we'll just keep it locked up, and then when you're back on your feet, we can keep it. Even if it loses power, we can probably repower it afterwards. It's obviously some sort of mechanical thing, so.
It should be fine. I just don't want to, well, sounds strange to say, but I don't want to harbor any worse relations than we already have with this thing.
I think ultimately it's, well, I mean, really, it's actually Bryce's decision what we do with it, as far as I'm concerned. It's his child, for what the loss for any other word, to do with as he thinks. And I'm not sure it might not even be sentient, so.
That is what we must find out, provided Price is all right with us.
Price just sort of stares blankly at the ceiling with his one good eye and just says, do what you want with it. Just don't let it out.
We won't, Bryce. We won't. With that, Longbeard just pats his shoulder and then quickly just cleans him up, making sure that there's no residual of anything. And, run the biohazard scanner over him to make sure that none of the tumor fell anywhere or any piece of it got out of our hands or managed to, escape, basically. And then Longbeard kind of like absently stops, turns around, walks over to the diagnostic machine and begins scanning himself. Making sure there's no foreign objects in himself.
You'll find a bit of a tendril that's inching like a little worm, like right underneath your collar.
Okay. It's not in me though, it's on the...
Yeah, it's on the outside of you.
Oh, okay. Then I grab it and take the power out of it. And then, see, this thing's dangerous. And I guess, shit. Longbeard swears. Opens up a smaller bottle, puts it in it, and seals it off, and then puts it back into that EMP box that Theo had set up.
It is dangerous, but that proved my point exactly. Just because we destroy the one that we know about doesn't mean that maybe that's not even the source for all we know at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we definitely need to study it, I guess, at least to find its weaknesses. You look a lot better, Doc. Feeling any stronger, or?
Yeah, I'm actually feeling pretty good. My muscles and organs seem to all be functioning fine. In fact, better than average. It was just a matter of getting muscle memory in place and so on and so forth. In a couple weeks' time, I should be back to normal as far as fully functional.
Well, there's no rush. Just, take the time that you need to get better. That's all that matters.
Sally sort of tilts her head and she says, Doc, do you feel like yourself? Or I don't know of anyone that's ever been cloned like that. What on earth is that like?
Well, I've had a lot to process in the past 12 hours or so, and I'm not quite sure what all of it means, or if all of it's there. I remember important things. Growing up, my life, my aspirations. I must admit, though, Theo's the only one of the crew that I remember. Have you always been our captain?
No, I haven't. I was originally on board the ship, well, when we began our mission a couple months ago. I was the science officer. And, I mean, not officer, I was the science tech, I guess they'd be calling me, kind of grunt that dealt with all the warehouse stuff. I was also a prisoner of the ship, of the Mavericks, which was just a big misunderstanding. I don't know if you remember that. You actually removed the reform implant that they had placed on my head, freeing me of that torture.
The Doc gets this flashback of being scared of Longbeer, of wanting to keep him under his thumb, of having a sort of oh shit button just in case things went wrong where he could kill him. You get this flashback of implanting a bomb inside of his head, but later deciding that that was a bad choice, and removing it.
So you ascended from prisoner to captain, then?
No, from prisoner to freedman to once we completed, or what we figured was completing the job that we were sent on. We liberated this ship from some aliens, which you remember our Quay friend there, Chompers. It was his people that had taken over the ship. And, recently the crew voted, we needed a captain, we needed someone to stand tall and represent us when we did stuff, so they chose me.
Well, it seems that your actions have spoken for themselves. I have no problem with it. Although, refresh me as to the details of our mission.
Right now, our original mission was to examine the rift, which we have come to find out is a white hole spitting out energy, like quantum particles. It's also spitting out these aliens. We have two different alien races, the She and the Quay. We're in fact on our way to rescue two of our crewmen who are on their way to go return to Gungeon. And they were captured by a She, I think. So that's what we're doing now. But from that point on, the ship is ours to do what we need to, or what we think is best. We are primarily doing a lot of exploration, and trying to fill the crew so that the ship is massive compared to our smaller vessel, which we let go. So I don't know. When you finally get all your memories back and there's something you want to do, if you don't want to travel with us, that's fine. We can always drop you off wherever you want to go. Or if you want to continue to travel with us, which I would prefer, as you're, the best doctor that I've actually seen, we can do good in the world.
Yes, well, needless to say, there are more than a couple interesting things aboard this ship. And although I have many memories, the past decade or so, I have many memories, but many of the specifics and the people are vague. I don't really have any place to go, more or less. I'm sure I can find things to interest me here.
Well, you're welcome to stay. I know that you are passionate about genetic research, so I'm sure you'll have plenty of opportunities to continue that here.
This is maybe a strange question to be posed, but who was it that I am a clone, I have surmised from everything. And I wish to know who it was that created me.
See, Longbeer kind of, probably for the first time, loses eye contact with you for a couple seconds and says that the 3D printer automatically goes off when one of us dies. as long as that we're imprinted into it.
Ah, I see.
So when your when when your light was extinguished, you the 3D printer automatically printed you out. Kind of a safety protocol. It was new tech that was placed on our ship to make sure that we completed our journey to the rift.
Did I
Yeah.
did I die on the ship?
Longbeard kind of just stares at you for a couple seconds, just with a weird, awkward-looking face. Yes, you had injected yourself with some sort of genetic serum that had changed your body, it just morphed you into some sort of half alien creature. We're trying to get you back to Bryce and I found you, and and there wasn't much we could do. I was carrying you, and you were asking to be. And
You can stop. You can stop there. Well,
I'm sorry it happened to you.
Are my remains still in our possession?
There's no they were incinerated. There's nothing left. I'm sorry.
All right, well, perhaps some research is best concluded in the infant stages. Every scientist must admit that. Perhaps that door is best left closed.
Perhaps, Doctor. I'm a scientist as well, and what I saw I will never forget what I saw. It was awful. You think you could see like the hints of like a little bit of water on the edges of his eyes? Like obviously it's very traumatic.
I'm sorry that you had to undergo that. It's strange, isn't it? It was I that died, and yet you have been more affected by it than me. Well, at least psychologically.
Well, I hope that you never have to go through anything like that. The pain that you were going through was unbearable. It was something that maybe someday Bryce can explain to you better, as he was able to contact your mind.
Also, another perhaps obvious question, but what is the status of the AI here? Obviously, I ask mostly in regards to what just happened to our friend here.
When you bring up the AI, Longbear's face just, it goes back to that kind of almost sad, on the verge of crying, but not quite. Sorry.
Yeah, where is our AI? Sally's where I'm so used to having them on these big ships.
Our AI was pawned. She was just destroyed. We're not exactly sure what happened. We think she erased herself. I don't really know, to be honest. That's more Bryce's expertise. I usually let him deal with that. I think the ship should technically have its own AI. Han was actually part of our original ship, which we brought with us. And then we transferred her to here.
What happened to the original AI that was obviously installed with this vessel when it left port? I don't think a Gonjan vessel. This is Gonjan, right? It looks Gonjan to me.
Oh, it's definitely
Even though you spray painted a bunch of Maverick stuff on the outside, but this is a Gonjan ship.
Yeah, I don't know. I never really thought about it. Normally Bryce and Pond dealt with any of the AIs on the ship, including all the bots. I didn't actually have a hand in dealing with them. I guess we can go up to the command deck and probably look to see if there is one in there.
Bryce.
I actually assumed that maybe Pond destroyed the AI just because she was in control.
Bryce, can you hear us? Or are you still conscious?
Oh, yeah.
Do you know anything about what he's talking about? I find myself in this new strange environment. I'd like to know a little bit about what's going on. I'm like the doctor here. I don't know anything. I'm a little concerned.
You should be. But aside from that, yeah. When we transferred Pawn over, we shut down and isolated the previous AI in a secure storage box in the cargo bay. It's essentially in stasis right now. It's not connected to anything. We could re-implement it, but it was nowhere near its...
I understand.
It wasn't Pawn.
I don't think
Well, I suggest keeping it offline until we figure out more about this thing. The doc says, looking over at the biocontainment unit.
You'll see that the cybernetic tumor isn't moving as fast as it once did when it was first put into the container. It seems like it's either losing energy or dying.
I think we can manage with the ship AI for quite some time. You wouldn't know it from the past day or so you've seen me. But I'm generally fairly capable at handling the technical computer aspects of the ship.
Yeah, you need to rest, too.
So you're the replacement AI? Is that what I'm getting? You can operate things and open doors and make sure things are safe?
Basically on a view screen nearby, a big green yes appears.
You have some style, too.
But Bryce stays quiet.
As it seems most people on this ship are.
I just want to know the lay of the land, that's all. I just figured I'd ask. Doc, I think me and you are kind of in the same boat here.
Yeah, do you think there's any chance at all that this thing is Pawn or part of Pawn or what Pawn is now?
It pretended to be Pawn to manipulate me. If it is any part of Pawn, it's not the good part.
I'm willing to just destroy it, Bryce. I mean, do you think we should bother with it? I mean, it was hurting you and it's harmed you. You've lost an eye over this. I'm not. To me, it's nothing.
It's moving very slowly inside the container now.
I can drain the power from it and it'll be...
Well, it doesn't look like much of a threat right now. Hopefully it's more machine than organic. And if it dies, we can revive it with some power. But it looks like it's about to go out on its own unless we do something to stop it.
It's up to you.
You tell me, Bryce, what you want to do with it. You're the only important part of this situation that I care about. The other thing is nothing.
It is sapient on the same level that Pawn was. But it's very new. It started confused. And then it acted as it did. I may not be the most impartial source of input on this matter.
Perhaps it was just scared. Assumably it has feelings on some sort of a level.
I'm certain it does.
Well, with that, Longer walks over and reaches into the box, and a very minute amount of energy I'll channel into it. I figure once I'm within the EMP field, I can just give some energy to it. Not much, but just do a little bit and see if that helps it at all.
It seems to actually burn the organic material.
So that didn't help.
You see that it moves away from your finger as far as it can to the corner of the canister.
Okay. So I can't feed it that way.
But even when it moved away very slowly.
I'm sorry, Bryce. I'm not going to attach this to some sort of organic life form. Unless anyone can come up with something else.
What if an organic life form volunteered for it to be inserted?
You don't want that in your head.
Listen, if it is malignant and tries to do anything, I mean, I'm confined to the wheelchair. I don't even have mobility. What's the worst that could happen?
It could jump to the ship and take over the ship. It could kill you, kill the crew. It just seems too much of a risk for something that we're not even sure it's truly a life form and not some sort of cancerous technovirus.
Well, it certainly wants to live, and if we deny it that entirely, and it does have backup files or some sort of data encryption that's in a dormancy state or something, there could be hell to pay. Have we made entirely sure it's not already infected into the ship?
Only Bryce would be able to figure that out. I'm not sure he's up to scanning the entire ship.
No, we need to let him rest, at least for a little bit.
Sally.
Yes.
Sally.
Yes. Is there anything else that we can do for you?
You have a certain amount of system expertise, yes?
I think I could do that. I've never worked on a ship this large before. How on earth do you manage all the subsystems and routines?
I have a couple of advantages in that territory. I'm intimately familiar with it by now.
I think it would take 3 or 4 of you to do that. I don't understand how you have that much time.
Well, I just always keep it on my mind. Don't work until your fingers bleed or anything. Just
yeah, I'm sure I can find it.
You can.
Can you give me some sort of some hints as to what the code looks like? Is it a standard AI bit of software and programming, or is it different?
It will look very different. It's it spirals on in almost the way you would imagine growth patterns in life doing so. It has so many cause and effect relationships, and they're coded in a way that isn't just binary. There's nuance
are you
that
saying
you won't see anywhere else.
It sounds like you're describing genetic code. Is that right?
It's, well, you could put it that way. It has that same sort of fractal value to it. That, I don't know. It has the same sort of growth potential.
She stops looking at Bryce and she looks over at the canister. She just shakes her head. I'll get right on it. Where should I? You can go anywhere, but where's the best location for me to go? Is there some hub? Some data hub?
There are some terminals on the bridge, but
all right.
Do you have a microcomputer?
Oh, I could plug in there.
That, yeah. I mean, once you're in, the system is very interconnected. Even the places that look like bottlenecks can be spread wide with, some gentle prying.
Well, I'm gonna go do that, and you rest up and don't worry about it, okay? Should we bring in your Faraday cage, or would you like taken to your room?
That might be wise.
Captain, I'm going to do a sweep of the system. I suggest bringing in the Faraday cage. If you need me, let me know.
Sally, take this with you when you hands her a data pad. It's all the images, the fractal images of the brain patterns that are converted into data streams, so she might be able to match them up.
And I'm going to accompany you as well. Try to make some sense of this. The doc says to Sally.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Let's go. Let's go up to the cockpit. So Sally will sort of pat Bryce on the shoulder once, and then she heads out the door. And she will actually get behind the doctor and start pushing his little chair up towards the cockpit.
When they're gone, Longyear waits a couple seconds and then turns to Bryce and says, "What do you want me to do with the thing, Bryce? Do you want to just leave it?"
Which thing?
The tumor we've taken out of you.
Now
it's just you and I. Just tell me what you want.
My answer hasn't changed. It's up to you. It's a more difficult decision than it might otherwise be. And I don't feel like I'm in the right frame of mind to make it. Thank you for respecting my wishes, Long.
Of course, Bryce. Just get your rest. I'll bring up the Faraday cage and we'll hook it up. Right now, this room is actually kind of acting like a Faraday cage because Theo blocked it off, so you should be okay in here. Are you feeling comfortable at least, or are you getting extra feedback?
Oh, that's cute, Captain. I'm fine.
So as Sally is pushing the doc up to the cockpit, she just sort of like leans down and whispers in Doc's ear, I don't know what we got ourselves into here. I know you were here before, but this is all new to me. It's so much better than that space station I was on, but I'm starting to have some doubts as to... I don't know. I think it'll be okay. It's just so much to take in all at once.
Yeah, well, the stakes are certainly high. You can say that much at least. Well...
Like, for instance, they told me that you killed yourself. I mean, that's kind of crazy.
Well, I mean, it wasn't like a suicide. It was all in the name of science. It was,
You don't still want to die, or you want to live, or where are you now? You need to talk to some shrink?
Well, I'm not quite sure, to be honest. It's a very strange feeling to be pressured by yourself almost to be a certain way, and you're not quite sure if you really are that way, if that's your natural predilection, or if perhaps in some small ways you're different than you were.
I guess you don't have a memory of dying, because that would have happened after you uploaded your memories and personality into the 3D printer. That would be really interesting. I wonder if someone died while upjacking into the system. I wonder if they would recall that upon cloning. Sorry, it's kind of a morbid thought.
Yes, there are many questions to be answered. Still, all in good time.
So it takes some time, but she wheels you into the cockpit. You see Annelle is in there. She's wearing like loose, comfortable clothing. She sort of swivels around and kicks her leg up on the dashboard, and she just looks back. Everything's okay. Smooth sailing. I've had to readjust the course several times. The asteroids seem to be picking up in speed and velocity towards Earth and Ganjan. I believe that's where the captain wanted us to go. I think that's where the previous two captains are being held. The strange ship is there. And she sort of stops for a second, looks up. Sorry, I don't know if I was supposed to tell you that.
A ship?
Are you feeling better?
Yes, quite a bit better.
Oh, sorry, I forgot. Phil was having Thea go up to the cockpit too. That's my bad. Rewind a little bit. So we'll say that you guys are headed up there, but let's go back to Theo first. I skipped him. Sorry, Phil.
That's all right. I head inside there, and as soon as I do, I hastily walk over. I place my diagnostic equipment alongside of the panels, and I begin getting them out, the various devices.
You know, instead of hopping from chair to chair up here, why don't you just rip out these damn chairs that are in the way and just put in like a swivel system and, I don't know, pulleys or something. You're smart.
What? Oh, well, it's a Ganjan design.
I mean, can't you do something with this? This is such a pain in the ass.
I can, I'll see what I can do later on. Hold on a second. I'm going to go ahead and do a little diagnosis on your cybernetics real quick.
On my cybernetics?
Yeah.
I mean, if you wanted to touch me, you could just ask.
No. It's, I just need to make sure everything's fine.
All right. I haven't had any problems yet.
Now, with that field, we'll begin scanning your systems, making sure that all links and anything is not in there or disrupting or anything of that nature.
The only thing that you see is that she's connected to her ship. But you see that. Do you find anything else? So what does your diagnosis reveal?
Mm-mm. I like to make a roll real quick though to see.
Okay, sure. Why don't you make a roll?
Okay.
Leave it up to the dice.
Would that be under computer or engineering?
Probably computer.
Okay. I got 2 successes out of that one. All right. Was Bryce got the was he ever successful in getting that net established? Because remember a few sessions back where he said he was gonna try to block her connection to the ship.
Oh, he wasn't going to try to do that. He was going to try and figure out how he could in the event that he needed to.
Yeah, he hadn't actually set it up yet.
Oh, okay. Whoops. All right.
Yeah, that's just one of Bryce's pet projects that he didn't get to yet.
Gotcha. All right. Well, in that case, diagnosis reveals nothing, and with that, he breathes a huge sigh of relief. Looking at her, he then says, "I'm going to set up a little system here. This will cut off the signal and focus it only towards you and the ship. It won't be broadcasting so broadly. All right?"
Wait a minute. What are you doing?
I'm making sure that the signal is only honed in towards you and the ship. It's not broadcasting broadly.
You mean my ship?
Yes.
I'm in operation of it now. Let's see what happens when you turn it on. You must understand. I've been connected to it for so long now. I would feel vulnerable.
No. I'm not trying to disconnect it. I'm just making sure that no one else can't interfere with it. Or with you.
I like the sound of that.
All right. And a few switches there. There we go. It's all done.
Did something happen? Why are you so paranoid about that?
Just now. Something happened to Bryce. I don't know what it is exactly. He had some sort of bioelectronic tumor in his mind. It had some effect on the electronic equipment, but when I was trying to head to a diagnosis panel, I felt my arm move.
Have you scanned your own arm? Maybe it's in there.
No. I just got done doing maintenance on my arm every morning. I would know if there was something in it, and there was nothing in it by the time I did that. A lot of the equipment in there was being controlled somehow by some unknown program running around. Whatever it was, it spawned from within him. We got it out. But I don't trust it for a second. He is a brain hacker, you know. I don't trust them. Not one bit.
Okay, we'll say that the Doc and Sally come in and we just replay that last scene where she admits too much information about tracking the ship and the ex-captains and all that stuff.
Ship. Anyway, I'm glad to see things are going smoothly, at least in one realm of the ship. We're just going to do a quick scan of the system and see if we can't find the origin of that cyber tumor, as it were. Perhaps the point of entry.
Sally will push you over to like one of the terminals, probably the communications array, and then she moves over and plugs herself in.
Do I need to make a roll or no?
Are you doing anything? I thought you were just hanging out. Are you going to help her?
Yeah, I'm going to help her.
Oh, okay. Let's see here. What kind of roll would you make for a diagnostic? I guess just intelligence computers would be fine. Let's see here. What kind of dice penalty? Yeah, just give me a roll. Tell me what you get. I'll roll as well. So I'm sure we'll be fine.
I got 1 success.
Okay, she got 4. So she's there for a while. With your help, it cuts the time down. But, Captain, this is Sally. I have done the diagnostic of the ship, and I found no strange anomalies or viruses or anything that resembles these patterns.
Excellent. Thank you, Sally.
It seems that the ship is clean.
The doctor is sort of, his hand is sort of like a dead fish just flopping around on the keypad as he tries to type, but isn't able to really do much with his current level of dexterity.
Captain, this is Anel. I have changed our vectors several times. The She vessel that we are tracking that is going along with those asteroids seems to have increased speed, and it seems like there's some sort of connection between the asteroid speed and the speed of the ship that we're chasing.
Can we outmaneuver them?
I think that we could catch them, but I think we're going to have to push the ship to its limits.
Yeah. Captain Theo.
Oh, he's right here.
Oh.
Hey, honey, you want to use the mic?
Theo, we need to, is there any chance that we can bump up the engines? Or at least get them ready for long power, high power, long time use? You muted, Phil?
I didn't see him post that he went away anywhere.
Oh, whoops, sorry, I was talking, I had that muted.
You know, like, he's going on and on.
I did, I went on for a good while.
Yeah, sure, I could do that about...
Cue the Technic
sure.
babble. Yeah.
Yeah, sure, we can push this vessel as hard as she can take it. It shouldn't be that bad, especially with the new coil that's been installed. It should be ready to go.
I think, if you really push it, it could be kind of dangerous, but I think, I'm sure you can do it, right?
Yeah. It's not too much of a problem.
All right, well, set speed for whatever will get us there, and as the quickest time, I guess. Hopefully Theo and the doc will be up to whatever we have to do when we get there. Theo, if you need any help in the engine room, let me know.
Didn't I hear? Does that bathe us in more radiation than normal? Is that right for this sort of maneuver? I'm not really sure how that works. I heard it on some station.
Actually, it would do that. We will need to increase the shield power output to make sure to repel additional radiation. That's going to put a drain on the ship. We could put the ship on a sort of a low maintenance state, power down, so to speak, focus everything on engines and shields and navigation and sensors.
All right. Don't forget to keep hydroponics on, or we'll lose our stock just for this. Unless it's needed, unless you believe it's needed.
I don't think we can. I think the plants could survive a day without having any light.
What if I'm pregnant? Would that do anything to the baby?
What? Who's pregnant?
All right, he immediately shuts that off.
See Anel kind of looks worried, and she just puts her hand to her stomach.
That's what did you just say?
I don't know if I'm pregnant, but we have been going at it quite often.
That's a little early to say that. Just a little bit. Just a little early.
Well, I can't be. Sorry, I worry about these things.
No, it's all right. It's all right. Look. We'll talk about this later, all right? We'll talk about this later.
You see that Sally has a smirk.
Then you hear the binging sound of the comm going off as obviously Longbeard's trying to recommunicate.
He'll reestablish. Sorry about that, Captain. Radiation must have been interfering with the communication systems.
Okay. There's kind of a light, obviously a laughter, and he just. That's fine, dude. All right. Well, like I said, if you need any help, is Anel staying up in the pilot? She gonna be piloting, or does she need me to relieve her?
I was thinking about it, Captain. I really haven't been doing much, and you seem to be kind of stressed out about piloting the vessel. Unless you have any qualms, I wouldn't mind being your pilot. I'm quite skilled. I mean, this is granted it's a different type of flying, but I think it'll be all right. What do you think? I feel useless just jogging around here all the time.
I had wanted to talk to Theo about it first, just to make sure. But yeah, I was going to offer you the position of pilot, so this makes it a lot easier if that's what you want to do.
You see that she sort of looks back at Theo and sort of changes her tone in her voice. You don't have any problems with me being pilot, do you?
No, of course not. It's perfectly fine. You go right ahead. I'll be down in engineering. And then, like as he walks away, he sends her like a message via by datapad saying, "I'll talk to you later about it."
And she writes back, "Don't harm the baby?" ?
He'll just type back immediately, "I won't."
Good. She just sort of stares out and just sort of seems to focus on the blue rippling rift of space that really just illuminates this whole half of the solar system. Do you remember that, Doc? There's something about that blue light I just find so mesmerizing.
Yeah, I do.
I think it's going to change things. Hopefully for the better, but I don't know. Have you been seeing these news reports that have been going over the data net, all these things about mutated children? They're calling them rift warped. Seems it just got me thinking about, well, I'm sure you overheard. I'm just worried about if I ever have a child, are they going to be strange and horrific creatures? And now he's talking about radiation and bathing us. I'm sorry.
Well, the shields should protect us from the radiation, and well, even if worse comes to worse and we do have slight radiation poisoning, the first level of it is not so bad necessarily. And as far as deformities in your child, well, there are many ways to predict such things. I don't know if you have a history, perhaps in your family or he and his, of such things, and certain tests can be undertaken later in the later stages to help determine such things.
I don't even know if I am pregnant. It's just got me so worried. I mean, you see these statistics.
Well, yeah, I'm sure you've got him worried too now.
Maybe you can go tell him something. I know you men seem to be sensitive about, having children and all that stuff. And I haven't had one before. I'm concerned.
Maybe I should go tell him about what? About the likelihood of child deformity? What are you asking me to?
Well,
I'm not.
that's not going to make him feel better. I don't know. I'm not always. Sometimes I say things I don't think before I talk.
Well, I'm sure he'll forgive you, and perhaps he'll breathe a sigh of relief. At any rate, men get over things fairly quickly. I wouldn't be too, not to stereotype, but generally we do. So I wouldn't be too concerned about it.
I don't even know. Is there some? Can you tell if I'm pregnant? I mean, I have to wait a little bit till I can tell. But is there some technique that I don't know about? I've never been pregnant before. I had this. I'm sorry. I've just been a little bit crazy lately.
Sure. Well, why don't there are things that can be done. Let's perhaps it's best not to jump to any more conclusions. Perhaps we should wait a week or two and then reevaluate the situation. I wouldn't want to go about giving anyone the wrong impression or thinking that things are perhaps more of an issue immediately than they are. People are already stressed out enough.
And this stuff, and she just reaches out her hand and she just lifts off like a data pad pen and starts like twirling it in the air, with like, she's not touching it. She's doing that. Like how no one knows what this kind of stuff is going to do with a pregnant woman. If I'm pregnant, maybe I should just cut them off. I'm so freaked out by this.
Well, I suppose. I mean, if you're going to judge the validity of your child based on superficial things, then perhaps you're not best cut out to be a mother. I think you'll find that, once you're in it, the specifics won't particularly matter. And as for things like that, well, perhaps that's the next stage in the evolutionary chain, perhaps survival of the fittest. Maybe one day we'll all be like that.
Like Sally, aren't you scared that you're gonna get pregnant and it's gonna come out some weird, freaky little monster that comes out of the inside of you? Aren't you scared by that? And you'll see Sally. She just looks over at Nell, looks over at the doctor. She makes this like cringing face and she just walks out of the cockpit.
Well, look at it this way. There's all these alien races, right? So, in comparison to them, he'll have a niche in life. People will accept him. People by the end of our lifetimes, people I'm guessing will be a lot more tolerant of various people.
Yeah, I just told the captain that I was going to be the pilot. Now all I want to do is jog around. Would you mind giving me some space, Doctor? Sorry, but your voice is kind of irritating me right now.
Yeah, no problem. The doctor, of course, wheels himself out of there without any further hesitation.
She'll just send a little message to Theo. I don't know if I'm pregnant. Sorry, I'm being crazy. If you want to, come see me in the cockpit later. Love and
he'll just like type back real quick. Okay, I'll be there in a little bit, and then he'll head down right to the captain and be like, Captain, I just made a.
You see the captain bending over the box, running some diagnostic tests on whatever's inside it. Yeah.
Yeah, we should probably change course. I had misjudged the fitness of the ship. I was looking through the schematics of it, and the manufacturer apparently made a terrible faux pas. Apparently Ganjins are also capable of a lot of lies and pride. They spec'd the ship to withstand radiation levels of 33 rads and up, and apparently it is not up to those standards. even if we do boost the shields, we might be dosed with some more radiation than normal.
Well, we should be able to boost the shields and then quarantine the rear of the ship.
No, it would bathe
should
the
get-
entire ship as a result. And the shield frequency of the modulations would probably just shift that radiation around. It flows much like a liquid sometimes. We can use this path here, and he kind of shows you this little thing that he created. And he's like, see, if we follow along this path, we'll be outside of the radiation barrier and still be able to keep up.
Is Theo lying? Because if so, I'm probably going to give Longbeer a roll if he wants to see if he's lying or not.
Yeah, he's lying.
I know he's lying. But,
what would you roll for that? It's like subterfuge? Isn't that lying?
Yeah.
Or was it empathy? There's one of those. I never know.
I think
it?
it's
Empathy and subterfuge?
Yeah, I think it's subterfuge.
Well, empathy's subterfuge. I think is actually lying.
Yeah, it's lying. Subterfuge because I have a specialty in
Okay.
2, 4, and what does that get mixed with?
Let's see here. How about either maybe wits? Wits or intelligence?
My intelligence
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
is 4.
Okay, so yeah, roll that and see what you get.
So 4
Plus empathy.
and 4.
I think that's what you'd roll.
Is that going to be minus my my subterfuge or?
Oh, that's a good question. You are trying to be convincing. Why don't you guys just roll off? So, why don't you do manipulation and subterfuge?
Okay.
I got 4 successes.
I got 0. I got 0.
Longbeard just stares at you as you're pointing stuff out, and he shakes his head slightly. He's like, "Theo, what's going on?"
What are you talking about?
I looked at the specs of the ship. I'm not new to engineering.
No, I didn't say you were, Captain. I'm just trying to point out extra options.
There's got to be something, Theo. What's going on?
What?
You wouldn't say you could do it and then change your mind. There's something bothering you.
Nothing. I'm just really tired, honestly. I haven't slept in a while, and maybe my head's not there. You know, we just got done going through all this weird stuff, and maybe my head's not in it right now. He just kind of backs away from there, and it's like, sorry about that, Captain. I'll talk at you later, and he'll actually just kind of fast walk right out of there.
You hear it like as you're going out the door. You hear like, Theo, if you need to talk, man, I'm here for you.
You'll hear like a faint voice down the hall. It's all right. It's all right.
Oh, okay, thanks.
From there, he kind of grabs his head fiercely, and a bit of frustration and rage, going, "Damn it! Damn it! Damn it!" And he'll head right back up to the pilot spot.
What's Bryce doing right now?
I think at this point, if the Faraday cage has been set up, he's just going to be trying to calm his mind enough to get to sleep, and having some difficulty doing it, because a certain minute amount of light will leak through the Faraday cage, so he can see like vague, faint outlines of the cloning machine in the corner of the med bay, and he's just sort of thinking about Han.
All right, so I'm trying to find a place to break off. I guess, is there anything else everybody wants to do before the end of the session today? So Bryce is staring at the 3D printer, thinking about Pawn.
Might as well end it staring at the 3D printer again. I like that. Dude, I can't. Just thinking that Bryce was in the room while Theo and I were arguing. That made me laugh so hard for some reason. I don't know why.
That's because he's like in a semi-catatonic state.
Yeah, he has been sedated.
He kind of just looks over and sees these two going at it.
Yeah, so you're like screaming over the body of Bryce, you know. All right.
The techno babble was funny. That killed me too. I'm trying to talk to you. You're putting that in chat. I was like,
I feel bad sometimes because I'm probably doing too much out of character stuff down there. But I find that I'm not role playing pawn. I'm just kind of hanging out, and it's probably just my thing.
I love the chat for that because it's kind of like you're talking about the game as you're playing. It's really cool. I think.
I like it. It doesn't disrupt the game. That's the thing I like about it. You're not talking over people. You just type it down below. Done. You can just ignore it, and it's perfectly fine.
What do you think, John? What's that like for you? Is that different? New John.
A little bit. The main thing that's different for me is not that it's too foreign, but this is my first time using Skype, period. You know, let alone for an extended period of time. I don't have a headset here, so I keep muting my mic on and off. So other than that, though, as far as the actual gameplay, you know, it was a lot of fun. I liked it, you know, definitely.
Yeah, do you got any just random thoughts? We tend to just have a little BS session at the end of every session. Anything that jumps out at you?
Things you didn't like, things you did like.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll think about it. I don't know. I thought it was pretty nice. There, you know, it had a good flow. Everyone, you know. I'm new to it, and I listened to some of the sessions, but as far as, like, character motivations and everything, you know, like Tim said, I think it's good for the GM to be able to sit back and just let the story, let the character, you know, let the story that you already set up be. You don't feel the need to keep, you know, holding our hand. Not that that's a bad, I said that like it's a negative thing. That style of GMing isn't always bad, but I think it's good, and it speaks to, you know, how good the role playing is, just overall, if it just, you know, can happen and be fluid, and I don't know, I didn't feel like anything was forced.
That's good. Yeah, I try to, sometimes I'm taking care of my son, so I'll just write at the bottom like, okay guys, keep going, I'm not here. I gotta change Wes or take Wes upstairs, or sometimes when he wakes up from a nap, he's just a holy terror.
I thought you fit right in. I mean, right off the bat when you were doing that ambiotic stuff all over you, I'm like, holy shit, that was awesome. Right off the bat, I'm like, okay, he's in. He's already created awesome stuff for the game.
Yeah, I figured John would fit right in. This is his kind of thing. This is kind of out of my comfort zone, but I think this is pretty much how you tend to play things, right, John?
Yeah, more or less. I mean, you know, even more so online, obviously, because, you know, online you do even less rolling, you know, in my experience, and I think you're even a little bit more entertainment oriented and less gaming oriented when you play online, or from the stuff that I've seen anyway, my impression of it. But yeah, I mean, sometimes I almost, when I run games, I almost feel like I don't have people roll enough sometimes. I don't know. I only, you know, like RuneSlinger, I think, did a video about only rolling when the stakes are high.
Yeah.
So
it's true.
Yeah, that kind of happens in this. I think there are just some things, like, because our characters are so powerful, it's like you need to make a hacking roll when it's like a minor machine. You know, we just assume Bryce hacks those little things.
Yeah, I kind of think he just does a lot of that stuff without even thinking, really.
Yeah, he's scary smart, anyways.
Speaking of Bryce, what'd you think, Alex? Am I messing with your character too much? Should I ease off, man?
No. I mean, I didn't need that eye anyway. That was definitely an interesting thing to go through.
Bryce will be in therapy later. You know, that fucking Tim. God.
Yeah. I don't know. Is the theme of this session birth or fatherhood or I don't know.
Yeah, I guess fatherhood, yeah, because there's the shadow of possibility for Thea to be a daddy.
You know, I was thinking about that on my like normally I typed in the email that normally I think about what goes on as I'm going to and from work and stuff. And one of the theories I postulated was one of those things. I said, man, what happens if that happens? That's gonna be something. And it happened. I'm like, oh geez.
I just hope Theo's kid isn't as much of a problem if it comes to be. Oh God. We don't even have a name for this entity that was embraced.
No, there's no name, but I like the cybernetic tumor. I was like, ooh, man, I just nailed it right there.
Yeah.
That's a great way to describe it.
It almost sounds vulgar, you know, cybernetic tumor.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you start to wonder, wait, did Pond do this on purpose? Because Bryce didn't do it, at least consciously.
Well, I mean, the entity could have turned out completely different if there had been a bit more context for it coming into this world. But as it was just so confused and, unguided that it turned out to be a tremendous issue. And, I mean, if Bryce were still able to look at the situation objectively, he'd probably be trying to figure out ways to keep the entity alive and give it a more satisfying, purposeful existence. But at this point, it crossed so many lines that I don't know if he can ever look at it with that possibility in mind again. At least when he's being honest with himself.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think if it wasn't able to like turn the lights off and drain the power for everything, and even though I know a lot of that had to do with Bryce's powers, I think Longbear would be more likely to want to keep it around. I just know that he wants to get rid of this thing. He does not want it in the.
Yeah, I was trying to channel like sort of like a possession scene, you know, from like all those movies, you know, like things are getting weird, and I was thinking, well, what's that?
It worked. I was feeling bad for him. I'm like, oh my god.
In my head, I was like, this is like Paranormal Activity, but in space. That's crazy.
I was trying to imagine what his eye looked like as it was like being pushed, kind of pushed out, like bloodshot, and like leaking out of it before we pulled it out.
And I like that the doctor couldn't do it, that he had to talk, you know, the captain through that. That made it even more tense and, you know, like even more thematic.
Because your hands are all clone-y.
That's the first time I got to use my power to turn stuff on.
Yeah, that was cool. I like that.
I got to use my power.
Yeah, it was great that you had that trump card to pull out.
It's like, oh, it turned off. Ah, ha ha ha.
And it's back.
Let me pull power out of my hat. Yeah, that was good. I like when powers sort of manifest in weird ways like that. You're like, oh, I never would have thought about that. But yeah, that makes total sense. Just the idea of this thing that's part flesh, part artificial, part AI program. I thought that was kind of a cool concept. I was trying to figure out, like, how does that work? You know, what's that like? So, well, I'm just going to throw it out there and see what you guys do with it.
It's also kind of disgusting, too.
It's kind of funny because I'm actually cutting like raw chicken right now. And I'm picturing like Longbeard pulling like raw chicken out of Bryce's eye. And it's
Oh, there's a thing. I'm kind of wondering if Colt will ever decide to put any of his implants back in.
Yeah, I was thinking too.
Because, I mean, he's got the arm. He also has targeting optics, so he has a replacement eye himself.
At least he did before it got regenerated, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe the doctor will be cutting on himself in his room.
Or maybe his personality has changed to the point where he doesn't want that stuff in him anymore.
Yeah, that's totally up to John how he wants to play that.
Yeah, once his Kaiser activate.
Yeah, it was funny because I was just like, it would be, from like out of character, it'd be really funny and interesting and crazy if the doctor injected himself with this cybernetic tumor, as it were. And then I thought back to the dream, and then like the more I thought about it, the more it just justified and solidified in my mind that this person, and also the way that I was sort of defining and playing the cloning process, this person that ostensibly had all these memories but was ostensibly new to the world, was sort of very impressionable, and the first dream that he had led him to believe that that robot or technology is good, or that in the past perhaps it's been the only thing that hasn't harmed him. So I just went with it.
Yeah, did you get that was actually a dream that Rohir had done about his family. So we did like a past thing where we went in the past. And that's what Rohir's story was about, his robot and his family.
There was a flashback. We can probably send you a link.
Yeah, we did a flashback, and that was the robot got destroyed by the father, and they had a dinner. And that was why I think we all kind of brought that stuff up so that it would mirror that.
I was hoping you guys were going to do something like that, but I didn't want to push you towards that too much. But
yeah, right off the bat, Alex was like, "Yeah."
I was thinking of something like that. That's why I brought up the Space Amish.
Yes. And then the dinner table, I remember they were saying that his arm wasn't good. They try to always do stuff with it. I don't know.
Well, how about you, Phil/Theo? I keep getting your names backwards.
Yeah.
Whenever I want to call you, I call your character. Whenever,
Just rename the character Phil, and then we'll just.
Any other thoughts or anything that jumped out at you?
It's going to be a lot of interesting dynamics on this ship now. I know Theo is definitely not trusting much of the crew now at this point. He's feeling really paranoid, and now even more so with Annelle's little news. So that's probably going to drive him a little crazy for a while.
I can't remember. What did you guys end up doing with the cybernetic tumor? It's just sitting in the container now, right? It's in the
EM field container.
Okay.
Yeah, I figured since I don't actually have to pilot the ones, I can do what my job is, and that's science officer. And I have all those points in investigation and cryptology and diagnosis. I'll probably just start scanning it, which I figured that's what I was doing when Theo came in to lie to me. Theo, I got your number.
Oh shit! The mechanic's lying to me. That's not good.
Hey, it ain't the first time I did it.
No, it's not. But you noticed I didn't get mad.
No. I was very happy.
What's wrong? What's really wrong?
He's an understanding.
Go outside the ship and stand out there with you and look at the sunset.
We'll have to have a one-on-one time outside the ship. All right, guys, it's time we had a group talk. Let's get in our space suits. Let's head outside. Come on.
This is the only way Theo will feel comfortable. Come on, guys. Magnetic boots.
Come on, you too, Doc. Come on. We'll will you out there. Come on.
Yeah. It does bother me that he doesn't have a hover chair though.
Yeah, I kept picturing that too.
Yeah, for some reason I was thinking he should have. We'll have to make him one.
And actually,
just strap him to Genu.
There you go.
I imagine he's in a chair and like he just put like there's these little bars alongside of it, and he just kind of strokes his hand along there with the same motion that you would turning a wheel, but it pushes the machine forward.
That's nice.
And now as I keep thinking about it, because he's bald, he's now Xavier. That's what I think of now.
Yeah. And I was totally thinking that the hair is going to grow back. It's just not. It hasn't grown yet. So you got all your hair follicles in there, John. So you're just.
If all the scenes weren't so dramatic, I'm like, I was going to say something about being a twin, actually having someone who else doesn't have any hair on their body. I'm like, yeah, finally. You know, he's probably as white as I am, and probably has no hair.
Got no eyebrows. That always looks a little freaky.
No eyebrows. No sun ever touched his skin. No scars. Perfect teeth. I want to be cloned.
Yeah, I was thinking for the Doctor, perhaps he, in light of his last, not indiscretion, but in light of the way that he died, it could go one of two ways. Either he could decide to devote perhaps a bit of time to becoming a bit more healthy physically, or perhaps he had like just feels no need to do anything like that, and focuses even more on his research and such, and just stays in the wheelchair forever. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where it goes.
Yeah, Longer will probably take it upon him to be like, "Come on, let's go exercise." Or maybe Sally will.
Yeah, we'll have to see how Brian plays that. Hopefully, I didn't play her differently than he would have. That's always kind of a hard. And like I said, I could have made you guys play her, but I just jumped in. I don't know. I figure I'm not playing Pawn right now. I'll just help you guys out.
It would have been hard to play him because I don't know. We only played with him once.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
I'd rather have a mistake.
That brings another thought to mind. I think now we can try to activate the original AI of the ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a possibility. And you guys are still heading after the ex-captains, right? I think that's still the case. Okay, thought so.
Yeah, there's no way we can just give them up. I mean, unless they go away and we can't catch them.
Well,
the whole asteroid moving with them moving that's actually got me worried too.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're hurling towards Earth and Mars. Yeah.
A little bit of a problem with that. Yeah.
But you kind of guess that the Earthers and the Gonjan are gonna. Well, the Gonjan maybe not so much because they got the Nobots going on there. Maybe the Nobots don't care.
No, they certainly don't. They've been squashing tons of their own citizens, man. We saw the news feed, man. It was like stomping them right underfoot.
For John, Nobots are basically these large robots that have AI technology inside of them. Each of them is unique, and they are sort of worshipped and revered. And they kind of took over. They apparently took over the control from Sosho, who's this AI program, and the Tenryu party that ruled Gonjan. So there's a little bit of a rebellion going on with the
I'm just imagining like something like the Sentinels from X-Men or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, just
but bigger,
like Pacific Rim. Yeah, a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's basically like a mechanical Cthulhu or something.
I guess that's a way of looking at
it.
Yeah.
Actually, there's this picture here.
There is a picture, and they have this monitor where their face appears, kind of like a miniature or a larger version of Geno. And the No part of the Nobot isn't like a lame thing off robot. It's the No Theater, where the actors wear masks. So that's where I believe it came from. So they have like a mask-like face that shows up on the monitor on their chest.
That's unfortunate.
But yeah, so that's going on. So there's a lot of stuff percolating in the background. But, all right, I think I'm gonna have to get going here, guys. I gotta cook up some dinner. But thanks for playing today, John, and hopefully next week we'll get other Tim and Brian back, and we might even have 6 players. Can you guys all make it next week?
I am definitely good to go.
I think so. I'll have to get back to you on that, though.
Yeah. I'm not sure, but I'll let you know, definitely.
Okay.
It's these next 2 weekends are the ones that are trouble for me. So, but if the party ends up being later, I'll just come and do this and then go back to the party.
Yeah, July, I think it's the first week of July. I won't be able to be here. But we can talk about that next week.
Yeah,
all right, guys.
That should be good for us. Thanks for having me, you guys.
No problem. Thanks for playing, John. You did a great job.
Good having you here.
And you have a good name, so.
Yeah, we're gonna have 2 Johns and 2 Tims in the same campaign. That's gonna be fun.
That's fun. Hey, Phil, thanks for the dice roll. That thing worked out well.
Oh, you were using that?
Yeah,
I was.
Oh yeah, I kept seeing you do your rolls.
Yeah, that's how I was doing mine for the past. Like I was thinking to myself, man, I get lazy sometimes. I don't want to get the dice, but also at the same time, I don't have enough dice. I don't have enough D10s at least.
Yeah,
I like to roll everything at once. So I was looking online. I saw that dice roller, and I've been using that for like the majority of our sessions. And I've been like, yeah, this is great.
Yeah, it worked out well. It does all the doubles. That last roll, you rolled a 1-1-1 or something.
Yeah.
That's funny.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
All right, we'll see you guys later.
Yeah, see you guys. Good game.
Good game.
Bye.
GG.